Hey, brother. When you were a kid, did you ever hear the phrase, "Stop crying," or "I'll give you something to cry about"? Yeah, me too. And that not only stopped the crying, but it taught us to shut down our emotions and to bury the pain deep inside. And some of us still carry those wounds to this day. But as we get older, we start to realize there's a better and healthier way to understand and work with our emotions. My name is Ed Hegan. I'm a former New York City firefighter, and I'm also a mindfulness meditation and breathwork guide, and I teach people how to manage stress in their lives by understanding their emotions and learning how to regulate their nervous system. And a lot of the times, we bury the pain that we're feeling inside. And also what it does is, not only does it still leave the pain of the sadness and the grief or the fear that we had, but when we're taught to bury that pain and suppress it and repress it, it also can add a layer of shame on top of those emotions, feeling bad for even feeling sadness or fear in the first place. So what it does is it complicates our emotions, because instead of being taught how to identify our emotions, to express them in a healthy way, to learn the lessons of what those emotions are trying to teach us, and then to integrate those feelings into our lives in a healthy way, we simply shut down, repress them, suppress them, and bury them. And these become really toxic inside of our bodies and even our heart and soul. In our bodies, it can create disease or manifest as addiction or other unhealthy habits. It can also make us feel like our emotions simply don't matter, or nobody cares about how we feel. And when we start to suffer from a multitude of dysfunction in our lives, whether it's addiction or dysfunctional relationships, we start to realize that we're not really processing our emotions in a healthy way. We're burying them, and they're becoming more complex because we're feeling guilty and ashamed for even having these emotions, or simply the desire to express our emotions in a healthy way. And part of this healing process is also understanding that the people that raised us, our caretakers, our parents, they were oftentimes doing the best they could with what they had at the time. And most often, they were not given the skills or the tools to understand, identify, express, process, and integrate their emotions in a healthy way either. So they simply didn't have some magic handbook that made them better at understanding emotions. And so, although it's not your fault that you're carrying around years or decades of repressed and suppressed emotions, it is your responsibility to fix it, because no one's coming to save you. So that's why we're here today, to simply explore the nature of our emotional world and to try to work with our emotions in a healthier way. Because this can really allow us the freedom and the space to release and let go of some of the things that we've been holding on to for years and even decades. And when we do this, it creates space in our lives to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. But when we also have a healthy relationship with ourselves, we can also develop deeper compassion for others. We can learn more patience and forgiveness and understanding for other people and their emotions. Because if we're taught to shut down our own emotions, and then we become parents or in relationship with our partner, or it could be anybody, a friend or a sibling, if we don't have some kind of working knowledge of how our emotions work, what they're trying to communicate to us, and we don't have the ability to work with our emotions in a healthy way, there's no possible way that we're going to understand our children or our partners or even our parents as they get older, because our parents have emotions also, And even though they didn't teach us how to process our emotions in a healthy way, we can still give them the gift that they could never give to us as they get older, and have kindness, compassion, understanding, and forgiveness for the pain that they're carrying, for the emotions they were never taught to express. And so I simply want to be able to sit with these emotions for a little bit, and we'll do a little meditation and breathing. And this is a really healthy way for us to connect with ourselves, our bodies, each other, and the present moment. And when we're not trying to avoid our feelings by numbing and distracting, but we're instead creating space to allow our feelings to come through in a healthy and authentic way, we can actually feel our real feelings. But first we have to sit with it and create the space that allows us to feel those feelings. So if you can find a quiet spot, sit, lay down, doesn't make a difference. Just be comfortable and try to find a space where you're undisturbed for a little bit. And we're going to just do some deep breathing into our belly. Through the nose, nice and slow. We're going to hold it for a couple seconds, and then we're going to release. So exhale all the air out of your lungs. Inhale slowly through the nose and fill your belly. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release. Inhale slowly through the nose, fill your belly, and remind yourself, I am safe to feel my feelings. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release. Inhale slowly through the nose and fill your belly. I am safe to feel my emotions. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release any tension or stress you're feeling. Inhale slowly through the nose. Fill your belly. I am safe, and I will take care of myself now. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly release. And continue to stay in this space where you're just connected to your body, to your breath, to the present moment, and to each other here. And you are safe to feel your feelings. You are safe to express your emotions. You are the adult in charge now of allowing yourself and giving yourself permission and space to feel the feelings that you were never allowed to feel as a child. I know it feels like sometimes we want someone to come in and save us, and we want the love of our partner to rescue us, or we want some numbing and distracting thing to pull our attention away from these uncomfortable feelings. And we just want to feel loved and safe and secure and whole and complete, like we're enough and like we deserve to be loved. But when we get to this age in life, we realize that our parents haven't given us that because they didn't have the tools or the skills to give us that. We realize that it's our responsibility to reparent our inner child, to learn to identify these emotions. And we can start with a simple body scan. Starting from the crown of the head, we can work our way down. Anything in the temple, any tension in the face or the jaw, we can open it up. We can recognize any tightness or tension in our face, our jaw, our neck, our throat, our shoulders, arms and hands, our chest, our belly, our hips, our groin, our legs. And let's spend some time in and around the belly, the chest, the throat, this center line area. A lot of energy that goes up and down our nervous system. And let's simply sit with these feelings. What are we feeling? Where are we feeling it? For me, anger manifests usually in the chest or the throat area. It's like this biting rage of wanting to act out aggressively. But over the course of years, I've learned that anger is fear's bodyguard. Anger is sadness's bodyguard. So oftentimes if I'm feeling angry, I can even ask myself, what kind of fear or sadness am I feeling that I'm afraid to express? And then when I do that, the energy drops lower. The sadness and the fear is typically more in the belly and manifests more as like nervousness or butterflies. And so as you continue to just breathe deeply, you can recognize that these feelings are signs and signals from our body. Our thoughts come in. They can be thoughts about thinking about something that happened yesterday, worried about something that might happen tomorrow. And they become emotions and feelings. And then these feelings live in our body. So the choice is either to feel those feelings, understand what the feeling is trying to communicate to us, breathe, release, let go of those feelings, and understand the lesson that it's teaching us to grieve, to mourn, to honor our feelings. And if we don't go through that process of sitting with our feelings, if we continue to pour booze or take other addictive substances or doom scroll or overeat, or if we continue to look outside of ourselves for relationships, status, money, the need to be important in some ways, these are all ways of coping with simply not facing the truth of our emotions. So when we can simply sit with our emotions, connect with our body, keep our nervous system grounded and regulated, breathe deeply through, scanning the body, identifying our feelings, feeling them, expressing them, we start to get into this flow where we're allowing things to flow through. Almost like we're cleaning out some old gunk, some toxic feelings that have been inside of us for years or even decades. And some of us are carrying emotions that don't even belong to us. Meaning, a lot of the times if our caretakers were emotionally shut down, we felt unsafe in their presence. And so oftentimes we would internalize their emotions, feeling as if it's our responsibility as children to be responsible for the adults' emotions, and that if we can make our mommy or daddy happy, then they would love us. They would pick us up, they would make us feel safe, they would make us feel loved. And so do you notice that in your own life today, where you sometimes put other people's needs before yours, where you care more about tending to others' emotions than you do your own? That if someone else is upset, you internalize that and feel like it's your responsibility to fix it? Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. And so when we can start to understand our relationship with these emotions, not only does it help us to go through the process of identifying these emotions and processing them in a healthy way, but it also helps us to release the emotions and create space in our heart and our soul to open ourselves up to be a little more present in the world, to be a little more connected, to feel more feelings. Now, we often think that feeling feelings is going to be a scary thing, that it's going to be uncomfortable. But trust me when I tell you this. Please do the experiment yourself. Tell me what's more painful. Waking up with a hangover, feeling addicted, being overweight, being anxious and on edge all the time, or feeling that sadness, feeling that pain, feeling that fear, and releasing it, And then we sometimes don't even feel the need to numb and distract ourselves with toxic and unhealthy habits and patterns in our lives. It releases us and frees us to give us permission to feel our feelings more fully. And that's such a beautiful feeling, to know that we can feel not only sadness and grief and loss and fear, which are just natural emotions, but when we can feel those feelings and have a healthy relationship with them, guess what? We also can have a healthy relationship with love, joy, connection, creative expression. And it really allows us to just have a healthier relationship with a full spectrum of our emotions. And in this way, we start to see there are other people in our lives. Even the strangers that we encounter on a daily basis, if we see that they're carrying heavy emotions, if maybe they weren't given the opportunity or the space or the love to work with their emotions in a healthy way, we can then take the compassion, the love, the understanding, and the patience that we're developing for ourselves, and we're sharing with other people, just in our everyday life, just by being a little more kind. And this is not about giving someone a gift or doing something for them. This is really about simply energetically being able to hold space for your own emotions. So when you come across someone who's a little grumpy, or someone who is obviously having a rough day and they're all charged up and dysregulated emotionally, instead of taking it personally, you realize, oh wait, that person's just having a rough day and they're probably carrying a lot of heavy emotions, and maybe there's a chance, just like me, they were never taught or shown how to express these emotions in a healthy way. And that can help us just feel more connected to ourselves. It can help us feel more alive. It helps us feel more connected to other people. And in general, instead of just feeling stuck, we feel a greater sense of agency and control over our emotional health and well-being. And you might also find that if you have some unhealthy habits, naturally your compulsion to want to drink or use, numb, and distract will diminish. And you'll naturally want to just be more present with yourself and other people. And so, if this message is resonating with you and you're realizing that you've been holding on to some emotions that don't belong to you anymore, and you're ready and it's time for you to release this stuff, you can reach out, send me a DM, or book a discovery call on my website, edwoodstock.com, or on Calendly in the link in the description below. And we can work one-on-one. Or you can just come back and watch this video, tap into some breathing, and just sit with your emotions and feel what you need to feel. And if you found this information helpful, or you know of somebody that might benefit from its message, please share it. And know that this is powerful work. This might be some of the most important work that we ever do, is learning to come in and save ourselves when we're feeling stuck, to realize that no one else is coming to save us, to recognize that although it's not our fault, it is our responsibility to fix it and make the healthy changes in our lives that are necessary. And I truly feel like that's our life purpose. And as we can continue to reparent our inner child and practice self-love, we get to become the version of ourselves that we always needed when we were a kid. And that's a beautiful way to break the cycles of pain and suffering in our lives. And so that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this message, and take care of yourself so we can take care of each other.